looking for the minutes too.
I could not find February 2nd's minutes to save my life. I've got the 15th and the 5th that I went through, but I could not find the 2nd. So,
I have them.
you got the seconds?
Yep.
Good for you. I could not. I get these done and over to Anita. All right.
Well, I'm now back into February, so I know it's not gonna be in there.
The seconds? I looked everywhere. I could not.
Tamika sent them when she sent the meeting, announcement of the meeting. She sent 3 sets of minutes
Maybe.
and an agenda.
Oh, she keeps getting put into
This
I
my.
see, yes, okay.
Probably around,
So it was on 3/2. So March 2nd, we've got 3 sets, you have to open it, it doesn't have the icon for me.
Okay.
So we'll do January 1st.
Look at 3, 2.
Hey Randy.
There he
oh,
is.
hello, Mr. Jordan.
All my behavior.
I'm sorry?
Sorry I'm late.
No, we held off.
You know, the sun is still up. I shouldn't stop working yet.
Well, you don't have a clock.
It's
You
not
have a
like-
sun clock, right?
I don't know, I kind of forgot. I was like, huh. Yeah.
It's not like you can get into the fields right now unless you want to sink up to the top of your tractor.
I went magical places today, in a mess, but I went places.
All right, well, let's open up at 6:07. I don't think we have anybody on Zoom.
How would we know?
It should be behind us.
Oh, is it?
on-
I
Yeah,
can't see that.
I don't see anybody, so let's proceed with the minutes. The first one is January 15th. Take any corrections, comments?
Move to accept?
Second.
I've got a first and a second for January 15th. Any discussion? Hearing none, just take a vote.
Aye.
All right, 4-0. All right, let's move to February 2nd.
When I just tried to download my February 2nd, it said that an older version, a newer version was available, so I clicked on that. So I'm not sure what changed between the old and the new, but if you didn't get that, you might want to look at it again.
Yeah, I'm looking at 3-2. Give me a quick No. Now I know why that was a special day. All right, I will ask if there's any comments or questions on 2-2's meeting minutes. If not, I'll take a motion to accept.
Move to accept?
Second.
Got a first and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, to take a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. All right, let's move on to February 5th, meeting minutes. Everybody was present.
That was February 5th, wasn't it?
No, it was second.
Oh, I was reading February 5th. I see, this is what's confusing me. Are you sure? Let me see.
See, I couldn't, I'm looking back at 3-2 and,
I've got January 15th, February 5th, and March 5th.
yeah,
Agenda.
I didn't have a February 2nd, cause that was the Monday. Was that the select board meeting?
That was a joint meeting with the select board.
So there is no meeting minutes for that, cause there was no official meeting.
Okay, right, there was no meeting for that.
Yep,
the
so there
next
was
one
nothing.
Sorry, I thought we were voting on the 5th.
Yep, let's go to the 5th.
Move to accept?
I didn't have any comments.
And I'll second that one because that looked right to me.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any comments, questions?
My only comment is under the discussion of joint meeting with the select board RDIC charge, when they talk about the vote, it says, vote was unanimous, no mic. And I believe what no mic is I left early. That,
Yeah, you left at 7:45.
not that I voted no, that,
Yeah,
Right,
I'm gonna put, we'll change that to Mike not present. That would make more
left the
sense.
meeting early or whatever.
Yeah, well, Tamika has it on the front. She put it on here under notes. Randy arrived at 6:34, Mike left at 7:45.
Okay.
So I'll
I
just
just,
put Mike not present.
She keeps that close of attendance, huh?
I-
Tough.
she's tough.
All
well, when
right,
she's doing them by the, you can see it.
all right, we've got the one correction, so I will take a vote.
With that correction, motion to accept.
Second.
Got a first and a second. If you have any other questions, I'll take a vote.
Aye.
4-0, okay, it's the minutes, those are done. Tamika send those and I'll tell her February 2nd, no minutes. Okay. All right, under new business, we're gonna pass on one because the lady's on her way here.
Correct.
She's not here. So we'll go to number 2. And this came up in the FICOM meeting about potential, I'd mentioned that the RDIC will have a discussion amongst themselves and decide if there's any warrant articles that they would like to put together for anything that they'd like to do. And I was told that warrant articles now are good for a year only. And I stopped short of asking the question, so what's the difference between a warrant article and a budget line item? I didn't see the difference, but at the time, we were there for the, to answer questions for the budget, so I didn't bring that up because I just mentioned it, a warrant article. So I'm asking, is there anything that, monies that the commission would like to put in front of the town to do? We've got 12,000 in the coffers right now, for my last discussion with Tamika. There was some discussion of cleanup, of hiring somebody to do some cleanup work at the RDIC.
You mean at the Heights?
Heights, yeah, at the Heights. And I think we talked about potentially maybe rolling that in with some discussions or negotiations with Harbor for them wanting to extend their deadline. I didn't know if we want to go down that path or do we want to,
We all know there's no money in the town of Rutland, so.
I
Yeah.
would put it off until we see if the override passes.
I agree with you, Randy, but that's not a reason to not. If we believe there's a reason to ask for it, we should ask. Because,
So my philosophy would be, right? You got 12 grand. We haven't chose to do it. Forestry management has
been taken away.
been given to,
AdCom.
yeah, I wanna get back to that too, by the way.
so.
That's on here, number 5, so we'll
To
talk about that.
Concon, right? So part of me says, don't ask, just let it be and do the best we can to negotiate with Harbor Homes to do all that forward. But yet at the end of the day, I'm also in the belief of we should ask for something, right? And if we don't ask for anything, then they don't know that we're thinking to make improvements to help make that more marketable, right? So, hey, could we get $5,000 to go up and bush hog, their front fields that they probably wouldn't have money to do within the highway budget to do it in the past, and Dickie has $5,000, go mow it, kind of thing, right? So there's two philosophies to think about it, but I think in the essence of things, I wouldn't personally do it, I don't think, unless you could convince me differently.
Well, I don't have a strong opinion. The only reason I say what I said is because you've heard selectmen say that, we've been treated very kindly by town meetings. Well, we haven't been. We've asked for money in the past and have never gotten any money, for specific items we've asked for. So I think to be on record that we have a need for it, if we do, is a good thing, even though we know we're not gonna get it.
Well, we only can suggest that it goes on to the article. It doesn't necessarily mean it gets placed there.
No, I agree.
No, but the warrant article's open to the 13th, that's why I wanted to make sure this meeting, if we were gonna do something,
Hi.
come on in.
Thank you.
We make the call now and get it on the warrant, or get it on in the cycle with the select board for a warrant article. That's why I was adamant about getting this meeting this week before the closes on the 13th. So, we get it before the board and see what we wanna do. I think having a specific task of cleaning up that field to the left when you drive in, getting that all cleaned up and doing any cleanup on the upper field that's next to the gas station. I think that's useful for if they get to phase 2 this year, and we want to start thinking about marketing that property next to the gas station for commercial. So I think having it cleaned up and ready to go for the summer is not a bad idea. That's my opinion.
What
So,
about the sidewalk? People spoke about there's no sidewalk from part of that area into the school. I'm not
That's not our
100.
property,
It's actually the school property that doesn't have the sidewalk.
it's the town property.
I was going with the philosophy of if it was ours, should we put some money in there that would may be easier for us to get than the, is there a way that we could offer a suggestion to the select board if we as a committee feel that it's important that, hey, there's no sidewalk from the Harbor Homes to there and people are walking there. You should set some money aside for the town to do that. Can we offer a suggestion to the,
We can suggest
I
anything,
would
but I'm
offer
sorry.
this- Yeah, I agree, we can suggest anything, doesn't mean they're gonna do it, but it's already been suggested to them too. They know that it's town property there, right?
but if we do it in a warrant perspective, then they could put it maybe closer to the top of their,
Yeah, but I don't know how we put a warrant article on property that we
the town.
don't control.
what I'm suggesting is giving them a suggestion,
Oh,
not necessarily
yeah,
an
fine.
article to do it, but give them that in our, hey, we want some money to clean this up, but also we think you should set some money aside for the town to do the sidewalk to come from our property to your property. It's just a suggestion, I mean, communication is working on being improved from committees to selectmen and all that, so is that a formal way to do it, or not, that's all.
Well, I can tell you that in the past, I've gone in front of the selectmen suggesting that they take that driveway and turn it into a road, and that's gone nowhere, so I think the likelihood of, they may spend money on that little sidewalk because it's little and not expensive, but turning that into a town road, which would then give you chapter 90 money for it, to me is the most important, plus it's deteriorating.
So could you clarify that for me?
From the hospital property to Main Street is a driveway.
From Maple Ave?
No.
no, the
From
other
the
one,
hospital property
to
The part
122A.
you're talking about, the little strip of land that goes to the schools,
So that's just short.
but all of that roadway going out to Main Street is a private drive, it's a driveway, it's a town driveway, but it's not a street there.
It's not classified as a road.
It doesn't get chapter 70 funds, cause it's not a street, it's a parking
So
lot.
the real way to do it would be to have them turn that into a road and put sidewalks at the same time.
So do we go about petitioning, well, but I don't think we put it on the warrant, though, that would be the town that would have to.
Yeah.
All we can do
Frankly,
is
I think
suggest
some-
is,
We petition the
The school
town.
committee should be doing it, but
because the point is, making it a road gives it better access to the RDIC. That would be our, if I want to use the word sales pitch, because then you'd have instead of a one-way road, you'd have a two-way road that would access from Maple Ave and 122A.
But even if it stays one way.
yeah, I think they'd keep it one way.
I think they would keep it one way, but it would serve the purpose of the proper markings and the road and the sidewalks going to the school. And the sidewalks should go all the way through to Main Street.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Well, it does if we put
If
the
they
little
put the
piece
little
in
piece
there,
there, yeah.
then you'd have sidewalk all the way to Main Street.
I think that's a viable option if that's,
I just think we're biting off something that's really not our concern. I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I'd much rather focus our energies on that lot on the left and clean that up and making it more marketable.
I don't have a problem putting a warrant article together. They're just gonna ask for some quotes, so I have to pull something off pretty quick on getting a cleanup quote.
I gave you a copy of a quote,
Did it?
$25,000,
That's right.
to do what with it.
to go in and not clear cut down to the pond, but selectively cut all the brush and the junk and leave selective mature trees.
Right, so you can do a warrant article not to exceed, so you could put it back out to bid.
Right.
Somebody come in at 19, we can still do that, and
Well, if you ask for 25 and we still have our 12.
Yeah.
so that 12 we can do anything with.
Yes. Qualified, yes. It's been so long since I've looked at it. Qualified, yes.
So do we want to propose a warrant article, which I've sent an email to Jen, that we'd like a warrant article for $25,000, and I can attach that quote for cleanup of RDIC property for
Ellen
anticipated.
Heights property.
Of the Heights, yeah, I keep saying RDIC.
HBDD,
HPDD, okay.
call it what it is.
D.
If there's a way that you can word it to, make it sound like it's to help,
I was
make it
gonna
more
put
marketable.
for marketable and sellable and marketable, updates.
And they're gonna ask when you're gonna do that, and you can give them an answer of what the general direction is of that.
And do we put in there excluding? Well, no, because we sold Harmony Place that spot, so it would be excluding that spot. It would be just the town's portion. Or do we?
I'm talking about the Maple Ave side of the pond,
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
but
But
they
if
don't
we're-
have any of that.
But if we're saying the HPDD area, right, the Heights Plan district, I think we should clarify it has nothing to do with Harmony Place. It's only the remaining HPDD property excluding Harmony Place. So that people don't think that
I
we're,
can put remaining unsold HPBD property.
Give them a copy of the
Yes.
map and,
Yeah.
because you're not gonna clear the whole back corner.
No,
We're only talking about around the pond.
Yeah.
Down to the dam.
but are you talking about the Mosio side too? Like,
No.
should that be mowed
No,
while you're
the
at it?
town does that regularly. They do it once a year.
But leave it open-ended, so if we change our mind, if we get the money, we can plant tulips over there or something.
on Maple Ave.
If you don't tie your hands, excluding the property like you were referring, but then with our intentions is to do the left-hand side up to the pond and,
Okay,
And you can take a map and just
That's what I
put
was
it with
thinking.
with a little highlight.
highlighted of what we're talking about. Yep, okay. Okay. I guess,
we should have a motion.
that's what I was gonna ask for next. Can you get a motion?
I'm sorry, Mr. Norwell, I don't mind to micromanage you.
It's time for the farmers to go out and have a talk. No, go ahead, take a motion.
I make a motion to put a warrant article on for $25,000 to clean up, beautify, whatever words are the appropriate words to go there, of all remaining property of the
HPDD.
HP.
Increase the marketability of the
Yep,
property by clearing down the pond. And, it's gonna become park-like.
And to make it pleasant for the neighborhood,
Right.
because we've heard complaints about how it looks.
yes.
Dick speaks a lot about it, enjoying to sit there and look over the water and is the
Well,
rose
it's
garden still
unusable
there?
now.
Is the rose garden gone?
Yeah.
All right, what I'll do is I'll put something together and get it at least as a placeholder.
Yeah.
And then, I'll try to have a meeting before the final closure here, so make sure the wording looks good to go into just a short one. It'll be just one item. It'll just be this warrant article.
I vote on that, and then I'd like to say something else.
So I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a vote.
Aye.
I,
4-0. Perfect. All right.
I think it would be due diligence of this committee to send a recommendation
I agree.
of some sort to sidewalk for all the new school kids walking into school, and
The crosswalks on the pavement, because there are no crosswalks on the pavement. So sidewalks, crosswalk designation, stop signs. There's no stop sign from one of the ways.
I think you have to list all those out and then possibly do the road for chapter money.
Chapter 90 money, yeah, it'd have to be brought up to.
Or just say we suggest that you look into,
I think we ought to just suggest the sidewalk.
Yeah,
Once the sidewalk's in, the town's gonna say, hey, you know what, we really should have a stop sign here, and they get the
Yeah.
DPW, get down and stick a stop sign in.
Yeah.
And you know what, we should have a crosswalk here, and they'll get them to get down there and paint it. I think if you put too much in it,
You're gonna throw something out.
okay.
so just do the domino cascade effect. Get one done and then let the rest fall into place as it goes.
and those other things don't cost anything other than
Yeah.
a little
Time
bit of
and
time.
paint.
Hours, yeah, and pain.
Okay. All right. That'll be number 2. One will be the warrant article.
No. That's just a suggestion, that's not a warrant article.
No. One is the warrant article. 2 is a recommendation that'll be sent to the select board as a letter.
And you might also somehow in that recommendation say that we've gone before them before on the roadway. I couldn't tell you when, but, no.
Be nice. Possible.
Well, no, I don't mean that in a negative way, I mean that it's important. Pay attention to it, folks. Whole different board, you know, they don't know anything about it. Yeah, no, if you don't think it's appropriate, it's fine, it's not a big deal.
I could put something in there with future improvement to a roadway, something in that effect, where it's not telling them, it's just giving them a suggestion.
Yeah, you might remind them that chapter 90 money will come out of it.
Yeah, future improvement.
Maybe they tie them together and they could get enough money out of it. Make the sidewalk 8 feet wide there, like they do some other
Like
places.
lanes and everything.
Roadway for.
But I think it's critical for that neighborhood to
Yes.
feel comfortable walking there or not jeopardize hitting a school kid.
And I haven't, just for an update, since we're on,
I was just gonna ask.
I have, per talking with Mike for some history, sent information back to the,
Point of order.
yes.
Vote on the article you got.
Oh, I thought we did.
You
I
did
thought I had
not.
4-0.
You didn't.
We did.
Yeah, we
did?
did.
Yeah,
I apologize. Go
I'm gonna have
ahead.
to micromanage the
Yeah, you're right.
micromanager. So what I was on is, Heather had sent me an email about not knowing who put the street lights in, how they were tied together, anything like that. So I spoke with Mike and sent her the information that an original construction company had put those in. And Grid should have somewhere on their list those lights, because they tied into their transformer. It's a Grid transformer, so somewhere along there should be records. So, and I haven't heard anything back, so I'm gonna have to send a follow-up emails on status, which I haven't done yet.
But they haven't said they'll turn them on.
No,
So, I mean, what's the holdup there? Either yes or no. Why-
supposedly they were,
They don't know where to turn them on. He just,
yeah, it
What's
sounds,
that?
he doesn't know where to turn them on.
yeah, I'll ask status, is what I need to do.
And I guess if they won't turn the streetlights on, the likelihood of us getting any money
Is
is.
0.
Exactly.
So I'll put status. So that was just an update as part of the warrant article. Since the young lady from Holden's here, we'll back up to 1.
I'm from Princeton.
Princeton, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Step right up and join us.
Yeah,
Well, I'd pull the chair away from him, though. He's,
Oh,
you
that's
know.
okay. I kind of know
I don't
maybe
bite.
a little bit. Well, I'll give you guys this. I printed this. My name is Nancy. Tara. I live in Princeton. I kind of know you. I used to get milk from you a while ago, and my kids rode horses over at Dale's. And Tori is one of my best friends. Tori Bright. And Raina's like my fourth child, and Tori wants to kick her out of the house.
Excellent, thank you.
I own the coffee cabin, and so Adam's also like a really good friend of mine for the last 10 years. But the reason I'm here is because I recently have decided to get out of the food truck world, and so I'm selling my coffee trucks, and I started a nonprofit called Warrior Kids Safe Harbor. It's something that I've been wanting to do for the last 20 years. I've been formulating some version of this plan, and it just this year I've kind of decided that I was gonna lean into it. And basically what it is it's a safe harbor for dogs, for people who are going through crisis. It could be anything from experiencing homelessness, they can't take their dog to a shelter, or domestic violence, service members getting deployed, veterans going into inpatient care, and I'm sure there will be lots of other circumstances that come into play, but really the goal is always reunification, so that people who want to keep their dogs and not surrender them have an option to have a no-cost place where we can work with them, and whoever their caseworkers are at the shelters or whatever services they're getting, for them to be able to have the dog reestablished into their more stable, safe lifestyle at the end of their program. So the goal is always for the dog to end up back with their owners at the end, because in my mind, I feel like their pets would actually help them move forward as opposed to regressing. And it's kind of my way of helping people when I really know how to take care of dogs a lot more than human adults.
Is it just dogs?
I am starting with just dogs. My goal is to maybe like expand to cats, like other animals that people do really care about. I just have a lot of experience with dogs.
But in the end, is in your mind more than dogs? I mean, would it be horses, goats, pigs? I mean, you know what I'm saying? People have lots of pets that all would encounter the same issue.
Right. So ultimately, my goal is to have this be in a rural setting. So it would be like anything that would be appropriate for that environment. So yeah, in theory, there would be a 24-hour caretaker on site, and their rent, they would live there for free actually to help us as the caretaker. So site appropriate, we could have a facility for horses or goats or whatever types of animals were appropriate depending on where we are. And so my initial concept, like you can see in the picture, is more modular style buildings that I can replicate so I can service different communities, and trying to make it as least impactful on the land that I'm on as possible. And the reason why I'm here is because I had originally wanted to buy a piece of land on the Rutland Hubbardston line that was for sale, but because of like a stream that was there, so it was just impossible for me to do anything there. And then I asked Tamika, I was like, I really just don't know where to go. All I need is like 1 or 2 acres of land that somebody doesn't use or that I might be able to buy or lease or something that I could put these structures, take up a small amount of space and not really impact it, but to get me going so that I could start working on this concept. And so she suggested this plate to come here. And then in the meantime, I had actually found a property in Princeton that somebody was leasing, and I was going to pursue that. And I had actually put a site plan together, everything. I went to the planning board. I had it approved. Like, it was the quickest Princeton had ever done anything. It was actually really cool. But unfortunately, when they provided me with the lease, it was just very, it was just like super corporate and just made me feel like, I mean, it wasn't Princeton. It didn't feel like, I felt like I was doing business in Worcester, and it was like this huge triple net lease with an incredible amount of rent. And my board members were just like, this is not what you want. So I took a step back, and then that's why I came here today, because I was hoping to give you this, and just, Tamika told me that you're, really well, established in the community. And I know Rutland, and I mean, I've been in Princeton for 10 years, but I've been in Rutland a lot. I have friends that live in town. Like I said, my kids rode horses at Mesa Farm. And I just have always known it to be like pretty in line with what my vision is, especially for like my first sort of go at this. And like I said, it is going to be a referral only facility, so it's not open to the public at all. We would actually be going to get the dogs, bring them to the facility, and then take them back afterwards. We would only be working with the caseworkers and the programs that the people are working with. So it's very like quiet, low-key, sort of more of a agricultural, residential sort of front, even though it is a registered 501c3 nonprofit.
So you already got all that done?
I
and all
do,
that?
yeah, I have
Excellent.
everything all set.
Makes things a little bit easier then, if that's all registered with the state.
I have my tax exempt status, I have a bank account, I have some money in the bank, I have, some donations. I'm just trying to like make the right decisions and make sure that, I mean, the second half of my life is put towards something that, I really,
I'd love to
care
send you to
about.
our planner in Rutland to help you with this, but at this point, we don't have one, so
Oh,
I can't
well.
send you there. Cause
Darn.
the John Carbonos or the Dave Georges in the past would have been very helpful with you in trying to find something, and to work with the RDIC if there was a 1 or 2 acre parcel of town property that could be leased.
So
So,
specifically, you're looking for us to help you find a location.
yeah, or if you she said that, Tamika told me that maybe, because of all your knowledge of the town, that maybe you might have some ideas about a location that I could pursue. Somebody that I could talk to that might just be more in line with what I'm trying to do.
Or maybe you are. Tim, are you familiar with our zoning when it comes to, I'm gonna call this a kennel? There is some zoning, and I
you have
just
to be
haven't
under,
looked at it.
have to be under business.
If you don't mind, just 1 second. So I actually, when I got approved in Princeton, my mission is actually more education based, because a lot of what my program is actually focused on teaching the families and the caseworkers how to reintroduce the dogs into a safe and stable home. And so the approval that they gave me was actually for a residential agricultural use by right in Princeton. So I don't know if that makes any difference. It wasn't as a kennel, I had to get a kennel license, but it wasn't, as far as the bylaws were concerned, I don't know what
Yeah,
they're like.
I know we have some,
Rutland.
We've got the agricultural accessory bylaw.
Yeah.
That's in place. And there's 5 different levels of that. And one of them is animal education with farming. So I don't know if that could slip under. That'd be something that the planning board would have
Yeah.
to take up.
Sure. absolutely.
being a
But I think
member,
in
I
our
can sort of
zoning-
answer that.
In our zoning, there's something specific about kennels.
Kennels are typically, if I remember right, under the business portion of it, and there's a definition that was redone in our last bylaws with,
3 dogs or more.
yeah, that it's considered a kennel and not just a home, so anything above 3 animals would have to go through the kennel licensing.
The animal control
Yeah.
officer, yeah, I know her too.
Okay.
But, yeah,
Randy, let me ask you a question, put you on the spot a minute. The RBA is, I don't know if that's what you're calling it now, but the Rutland Business Association, which Randy is a member of. It would seem to me that might be a place for her to go and whether they can network within that however many member board group you have, and then maybe come back and we might be able to help some more as far as finding a location.
I was also thinking, Mike, something to the point that if we could look at some of the properties along 68 that's town property and see if there's a 1 or 2 acre parcel.
Yeah,
For lease.
The problem I have, the worry I have, not problem, is you all know what it takes to buy a piece of town property. It's RFPs and quotes and, all of that kind of stuff, which is gonna get awful cumbersome.
But at least, can't they put it out for,
You can put it out to bid,
yeah,
but it's
'cause
only usually a short-term bid.
I don't know.
I'm
enough
looking at the
about-
overview of what she's here for, right? I'm not certain if she's in the right place, but I, as an individual, have some ideas that, could you go to the senior center and work with the seniors, which is right beside the school, to do it, and develop a lease or something with the school, because you only need a couple acres at most, right?
yeah, 2 acres
So
at most.
it's not a big deal, right? Could you go to the senior center to physically do something? This is portable, so all of a sudden the senior center isn't there and we build a new one in 5 years. You
Yeah,
could pick
that's
up and
the
move or do
idea.
something there, right? So
They're
that's the,
basically shipping containers.
Is the senior
Yeah.
center on town property?
yes, but what I'm saying is it's just like putting a community garden there, right? In my eyes. You can have a community garden at the senior center. And then could she just use some back space of it? She could go on top of the septic field that's there for the way out in the back there, or she could go behind the soccer field. I'm just throwing that out as an idea, right? I mean, we don't need to dwell on it, but that's a possibility.
No, but I guess my point is if it's town property, it would still be under our purview, because aren't we,
Oh, okay, I didn't see which road you were going down, Michelle, I'm sorry. But
That's
then,
okay.
so I tell you, like, the senior center, I'd almost tell you the schools, but they got no extra property. We put a greenhouse there,
got-
it's ag commission.
They've got that, in front of Glenwood, they got that huge piece of property in the front that's been sitting there vacant. It was gonna be a soccer field, it was gonna be
Hey,
a
there's a farmer that feeds the cows with that. Leave
Okay.
it alone,
Well,
Jesus.
Well, we
partially more for the veterans than the
You know,
farmers these
I don't-
days.
but
But-
if it's town
Help with
property,
that.
wouldn't it be us?
True, yep, same thing, right? You have this town parcel over here, right in the center of town, right across.
That small one between the two houses that Dick talked about.
That's correct. Over there is a parcel, it's not even an acre, is it? Where the elm trees were planted or something like that?
Yeah, I'm not
So
sure.
there's several properties in town that are small that you could lease from the town, not
Right.
have to own it. And leasing from the town is not that triple net and a lot of taxes
Yeah,
and all that.
that's-
Anyway, if you rent it from Randy Jordan or Mike Sullivan, you're gonna have to pay triple net and it's ridiculous money to physically do it, right? Sweet pea
Parcels.
on,
Yeah, the rescue,
yeah,
that they're building that shelter, right? They're
It's built,
usually-
yeah.
it's brandly built and there's a guy that plows the driveway that's never seen a dog in there. And I think they would love to have the dog there and maybe work in conjunction with them. I don't know if you could partner with them
Yeah,
to do something like that, I mean, you probably wanna be on your own, but there are things out there like that. I mean, you can go to a larger business, but I mean, who's the largest business in town that would say, hey, here's 2 acres that I ain't doing nothing with, that you can give me a few dollars for tax.
yeah.
I'll get in trouble if I have my mouth on that.
That's
I'm
that's
zipping
more-
it.
That's a little bit more of what I was looking for than to, yeah. I am looking more to do something on my own, even if it's to the extent of leasing something from the town, rather than, like working with another, just because I do have like a plan to kind of replicate my model and go other places so that I can, serve other communities.
We as a board wanna look into available properties
Yes.
that we could possibly suggest for leasing?
Yep.
Cause it would have
And
to go through
I
the
don't
whole.
mind doing all the work, like, honestly, any information is so helpful. I'm just, I'm looking for guidance, so.
Well, the only problem with
the
dealing
time.
just with us is you're only talking about town-owned property.
Right,
And to me, the potential opportunities of private property would be far more than town-owned property. I mean, I remember Dicky over the last couple of months has been talking about some piece of land down off of 68 that has some wetlands in it, but, they should sell it to the town owns it and they should sell it to the neighbors because what are we ever gonna do with the thing? But there must be small parcels of privately owned land that someone's gonna never do anything with, whether it's on 68 or Intervale Road or whatever. I don't think it makes sense for you to corner yourself just into town-owned land.
yeah, I mean, anything, like I said, the idea is for them to be modular and mostly off, utilities, so they are movable. And so whether it is town-owned land or private land, or it's not like I am going to be, like, the dogs wouldn't have to go someplace if I had to move the structures somewhere. But I do need places to call or reach out to and see if somebody, would bite on the mission.
So what kind of facilities would you need? Just some electricity?
I mean, in theory, I'm hoping to run almost everything on like solar batteries and a backup generator and,
Okay,
yeah,
septic?
not really.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
that's,
ultimately, no,
okay.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, if you have somebody living there, you're gonna need water, and if you're gonna have somebody living there, I guarantee you from a planning board perspective, you're gonna need water and sewer or water and septic of some sort for
Yeah,
that facility, even if it's accessory dwelling.
Yeah.
700 square feet or less, you're gonna need something, so you'll need some septic or well.
yeah, and I can work with, depending on what with the planning board, whatever they require for that. I mean, and I do have the funds to, to do whatever it is that I need to do, but I can work with whatever.
I would also say, talk with Tamika, and it's too late for tomorrow's meeting, but get on the next meeting's planning board schedule and do the same presentation that you're doing to us to them, so. Cause I don't know when we're gonna get a planner, cause that's the staff that we need that's there 8 hours a day to be able to help you out and be able to look stuff up, because the planning board, like this board, is they're elected, but it's basically volunteer,
Right,
so.
So you know, he's a member of the planning.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to tell you to do that.
yeah, okay.
Get on that,
I'll call her tomorrow.
yep, and have put on the next, meeting, cause that way we can focus in saying, you can use the accessory dwelling bylaw for this, it qualifies. And from a kennel standpoint, here's the areas in town you can look at. And then from the second perspective, you could go to the assessor and have her pull properties that are just not developed
Yeah, okay.
from the maps.
Great,
And there's another thing to look at, just to give you a heads up, on Rutland's website, there's a GIS program under the assessor.
yep,
And you can go clicking around and seeing someplace that would work for you and see if that's available or if it's open.
okay,
And it will tell if it's town owned or private owned
got it.
on the little card that comes up with it, so that could be helpful for you from doing the legwork on that standpoint.
Rand, did you see any benefit to the RBA or maybe the Ag Commission?
Ag Commission probably couldn't do much more than I can do as a whole. I think there's some advantage of talking to the Ag Commission because of the farm. Maybe one of the farms has a,
That's
That's what
exactly,
I was thinking too.
you go to Jerry Christoph's, down there that's got some unused space right around the barn that
Skippy.
Skippy doesn't have a ton, with all
Well,
this.
yeah,
But
that's,
there could be a business around that we could advise her to go to, right? What would be so Randy Jordan says, yep, here's 2 acres over in the corner I'm not using. What's the advantage to Randy Jordan to do, I mean, I would assume I can have it as a tax write-off, right?
Mhm.
Is that,
Yeah,
so do they put a value, how does that work on tax? I'm not very good at taxes.
I mean, basically, you would just get a like a receipt
a
from the
notice
nonprofit saying that
saying
you made the donation to the
Of the property
nonprofit.
to physically do it,
Yeah.
right? And somebody may say, hey, here's 2 acres, it cost me $100 a year for taxes, can you
Yeah.
help with that kind of thing? And
Yep,
kind of thing, I think, you have the potential there, the problem is, you don't know all the players in town, so you're here to learn all the players in town, right?
that is
And
it, yeah, that's
because,
exactly
you know,
it.
you can knock on every cold door you want and get 9 out of 10 of them slammed on you, but you just gotta find that one person, right?
Right.
So,
That's why I really
why
was
I'm
wish
here.
there was a planner, because that would be the one I'd be sending you to be able to
There
spearhead.
isn't, Tim, so let it go.
I'm not letting it go, cause it's my sales pitch, we gotta get that person in place sooner or later, because things like this come up and we don't have a way to
the
help.
town planner's not gonna know the ins and outs of some of the townspeople, in my opinion.
Correct.
Well,
When you said earlier that there was a landowner that might be willing to have extra space, and I went like this,
That was you or me?
that was you that I was, well, could be the landowner that I was thinking about, but I didn't want to say that until you did.
You should go in the Boy Scout area, the Boy Scouts aren't using it very much, you go in that area.
So what do we do to help this young lady?
Yeah,
Other
I
than
don't
have her
wanna
walk
take
out
up
of here.
too much of your time, cause I know I'm not really in the right place, but I didn't
Is
have
this your phone number
really
that's on
else-
here?
It is, yeah, and my email address and
I'm not very good at it.
Let this group put some
either
feelers
way,
out and
I
see what
have
we
your
can.
number actually too.
So why don't we as a committee come up with a list of some smaller parcels in town, and we can have a discussion of how, we can suggest that, for example, I don't think it's the ideal spot in the center of town, but is there a place over on 68, like he said, that's a couple acres and we ain't doing nothing with it, and why couldn't the town choose to
Lease it,
lease it put it out to bid, right?
Yep.
And if she's gonna cut down a few trees or
I
whatever,
can do
that,
all
that,
of that.
that would be at your expense kind of thing, and how
I mean,
long?
those 4 acres, I was gonna clear it all, I was gonna do all that, it just wasn't possible.
How,
you had,
what's your lease for? What do you think because the town, like when they rent hayfields in town, typically they do a 3-year and then they put it back out to bid. Are you okay at 3, or do you
Yeah.
want something longer?
Like, I mean, if it was just a piece of land, I would be fine with 3 or 5 or, if it had like a house and stuff on it, I would wanna do it for less time, but if it was just a piece of land, I would lease it for
Typically, the
longer.
town doesn't have anything with houses on it, right?
Or a structure, yeah, I'd prefer something that was just land.
How many animals would be there typically? I
well-
I know you can't answer it.
Well, no,
Definitively.
I plan to start with like 8 dogs when my first spot. Just because the whole process of getting the dogs is, I want to perfect that with working with the caseworkers and the programs and stuff. I want to make sure before I grow that is all running smoothly.
have you talked to our VA agent in town about this too?
Not yet.
Okay,
no.
I would say just reach out and put it out there,
Yeah.
with the VA agent, which I don't know who that is, cause I know Karen retired, I don't know who the replacement is.
I'd probably
Somebody from another town is covering
Okay.
a few towns, yeah.
The crystal light just went on for you. And this would work. You should call, behind the Rutland Sportsman Club, it's called Golden Hill Acres, and that's owned by the Morrow family. Mr. Morrow died 20 years ago, probably now, and his 2 sons own the property, and I rent the hayfields from them. And they got a big solar parcel up there. The house is still standing, but probably not livable. There's a barn up there that should could come down. And I would reach out to him. And you probably could email, or you could call or text him and say, hey, Randy Jordan said to call. And he would probably listen to you. The challenge is he doesn't know what he wants to do with the property. But you're a short-term lease. He doesn't say I'm going anywhere with the hayfields. But it's an abandoned piece of property remotely away from anybody else.
Yeah,
But it has access, it has.
But has
roads.
access
It has
to it,
roads.
right? And essentially, they'd like to sell it, but yet you write up a lease of, hey, if you sell it, give me first right of refusal that you can't buy $1 million piece of property. But yet, you
I could get going there.
could get started there, and it's mobile, you could get there. And there is power there and all that.
Oh, yeah, that sounds great.
So-
Actually,
He lives in Maine and his brother lives in California. 207-831-9595. And it's Steve Morrow. It'd be Randy Jordan that told you to call, and he might shoot at me, but probably not.
I'll give you the hot mic thing again.
And then the other one that I would suggest off the top of my head is down on Bryan Road in Holden, right off of 68. There's a farm there called the Lebanovich Farm. And the Lebanovich has passed away.
how do you spell that?
I have no idea.
Labanovich?
Yeah,
It's with a U, I think.
yes it is. Begins with a U.
The other thing is you can go to
URBAN.
the Holden GIS and look on that one on 68.
WITCH maybe, something like that.
It's Polish.
Oh, they were stonemasons. But
Leban-
it's right, if you go down Bryan Road, there's a brick house that goes with it, but one family member bought it, but then there's a barn and a house that fall down, there's a gazillion fields there, there used to be a sawmill there that's fallen in, but I would assume, and if you call me, I can get you the name, because my neighbor, Jim Dunn, hays it. They may
Is
say,
that Kyle Dunn? Is Jim Dunn Kyle Dunn? Is that
no,
his
daughter-in-law.
daughter-in-law? Okay.
And so Jim could get you a phone number for that, but that's a prime spot right off of 68, not many neighbors, and another farm that could use a little sprucing up and probably ain't going anywhere anytime soon. One of those two, I guarantee would give you a spot. And then we can still give her ideas and, from this committee,
Thank you so much.
but you have my number.
Super.
Make a note of that in the minutes, Randy guaranteed.
She's not doing minutes, remember
Randy,
tonight?
Randy
You know
did
who
a
is?
good deed.
Mike's
So-
our secretary. Can I see your paper for a second?
Which one?
Yeah,
This?
anyone, yeah, I wanna write you a note.
Mr. Norwell, can I leave, or is that gonna screw up your quorum, because I got Grange at 7?
No, there's 3, we're still good.
Is there anything that I need to be aware of?
The RDI charge I wanted to get to, that was one,
Mike will represent me on that.
Oh, good call.
okay,
Nancy, what's your last name?
It's Chara, C-I-A-R-A.
yeah, get it,
Say it again.
C-I-A-R-A.
Okay.
7 o'clock.
And also on the back is my phone number and my
Got it.
email address, so,
Good.
yeah.
Thank you very much for coming,
Thank you
Nancy.
so
I
much.
admire what you're doing. It's
Thank
a
you.
very worthy cause.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time. Thank
I
you.
think the town could really do something for her.
Just
If you
give me
get,
2 minutes.
get to the planning board, you got
Right.
Norm Anderson
No.
and Dick Williams that have between them have like 100 years of Rutland experience and
That's awesome.
and Dick knows more property than the years I've been alive. So
That's great. Thank you so much.
he'd be a huge
Good night.
help.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Thanks. Thanks, Andy.
Just before Randy runs away, if you don't mind, can we just go back to the minutes where we were talking about our joint meeting with the selectmen?
Yes,
After our last joint meeting, after we were asked to go to the last selectmen's meeting in a letter from the town administrator, you all know that we went and had a snafu with
I was me.
posting the minutes, but Tim
Posting the meeting.
what's that?
Posting the meeting?
Yep, that was me.
Tim pointed out to the chairman of the select board that we were there as individuals and we would speak as individuals. Long story short, we weren't allowed to speak on the subject. And what bothers me, and I just want this board to know, is at the joint meeting we had, our chairman of our board of selectmen said that they didn't want to discuss that and that they board had not yet had a discussion regarding this topic, so she preferred to wait until a future meeting to address it. Now, to the best of my knowledge, they didn't have another meeting before that last joint meeting that the Conservation Commission was at. Yet they decided to invite the Conservation Commission and ask us to be there, and then didn't allow us to speak. I think that really bothers me that we were ignored and asked to come, but no input was given. Concom spent a lot of time, and I've got nothing against Concom. I don't even care what the subject matter is. It's the way the meeting was run. So to that point, it bothered me enough that I called the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, and I discussed it with her. We had a very civil 10-minute conversation or so. In the end, she said, Mike, I'm not apologizing for the way I ran the meeting. I don't see that we did anything wrong. I wholeheartedly disagree. I think we were invited, and to me it was a slap in the face, invite us, but we're not gonna let you talk. She used as a part of the reason that the meeting wasn't posted. I pointed out that Tim had discussed that with her, made no difference to her. So I'm just telling you, I went, I did that. I spoke as a member of the RDIC, so if anybody hears about it,
No.
I just want you to be aware. That's what I said. If anybody's got any comments, I'd be happy to listen to them.
I'd just like to add that out a little bit as well. I was less than thrilled. And I kept my cool here. I did speak to the Concon lady afterwards and offered my assistance and told them how the RDIC had done some of the plan. I didn't fully understand what was being said here. I thought I did. And I would say that I was probably the most well-versed person in the room because I have the largest number of acres in town in that room that particular night, and I had done, I thought, a forest management plan. And they referred to the plan up here, the selectmen, was a holistic
Holistic is the word they used.
Holistic study.
of the thing.
Yes.
So I called the forester that had come to speak to us at the RDIC, and also represents Jordan Farm, Ross Schuback, and I was about 16 feet off the ground. I was talking to Ross, and I didn't yell at him, and I says, explain to me the difference. Well, he says, Randy, I call that a stewardship plan, which is the same thing as the report that you just referred to as. I says, so what did I have done at the farm? And I needed that done for 61A on the whole property. And then I also had a plan done to cut down the trees that we chose to cut down in the Maple Grove and other parcels over at the Spencer Farm. He said, well, Randy, you had a stewardship plan done at your farm. That's the exact same thing that the town wants to do is what Jordan Farm had done that. So I says, you can still get that DCR free money. He says, yes, but right now it's, all the money's gone for this year. But he says, come June, you can get more money and they'll pay for the whole plan, and it takes, some time to do it. And Ross Huback can do the exact same thing that he did for Jordan Farm
For the
for the town of Rutland to physically do that, right? So I understood the plan a little bit more. And I did call Jen, and mine was longer than 10 minutes.
Mine might have been 15.
And I told her that, I wasn't pleased that I was not able to speak as an individual on that.
With
Because
knowledge.
Ah,
With knowledge that you could have had input to that meeting.
and if I knew that I couldn't talk on that particular subject, I may have got up and spoke similar to Mikey D did and give his campaign speech
During the
there.
public hearing.
During
I mean,
the public hearing,
information.
right? So I could have shared some information there if I was aware that I wasn't able to talk on that subject. And I explained to her what I knew, what I thought I knew and what I learned from Ross to do that, and I was willing to help. And I just expressed my concern to her on the situation, and I told her I had talked to Concon and gone from there. So I calmed down once I learned from Ross, but I genuinely thought that was part of the reason that I was coming to this side of the fence to help with that, and it hurt my feelings.
Well, my perspective was, I thought that the information was all gonna be taken in at that meeting. It was gonna be discussed with the select board, and at a future meeting, a decision made.
Correct.
I did not expect a decision made that night. That was my frustration, but again, I'm not on the select board, so I don't make those calls. I just thought that making a decision with having a quick discussion with the Concon and no input from the RDIC or from the Ag Commission, I didn't think was all the information to make a decision. That was my opinion. So,
Okay,
That's it.
I'm happy with,
Yeah.
hey.
I'm not here to debate the subject over. As far as I'm concerned, there was no question. They had made up their mind before the meeting what they were gonna do. So why did they waste my time to come up here for 2 hours and listen to that? I thought that was disrespectful. So,
Michelle, you any comments?
Well, I'm just concerned, Randy, that was the primary reason why you joined our group, because I thought it was for the whole,
It is, but that was one area that I had
okay.
focused on.
You made it sounded to me like you were saying that was the main reason why you did it, and I was like, wait a minute, we've got more to do here.
Well, obviously, if that was the only reason that it was here, I wouldn't be here now, Michelle, if that was the case.
Okay.
And I feel that I do add value to the meeting
I don't disagree.
without the tree discussion.
You added a ton of value for the young lady, cause
Yes,
she
Yes.
doesn't, that knowledge is not,
yes, but I was like, oh,
That's fair to say
optics,
with,
yeah,
with my conclusion, but I mean,
yeah, yeah.
if that was.
just
the-
so, sorry. No, it's your meeting.
I was just
But
saying,
just so he can run.
That's what-
Do you have any comments on the,
I was gonna
the,
consider this 5, but there was anything more for number 5 on the forest
no,
management?
the discussion, the selectmen discussion, so then we can move on.
Yeah, cause I was gonna
They did
consider
what they
5,
did, I'm not,
yeah,
not.
I was gonna consider 5 closed and go back to the RDIC charge.
Okay, just before he runs away, let me just show him the sign for Harmony Hill. This is, they're going in front of the planning board for this sign, which is 10.5 feet wide, 5 feet high, which to me, when I first looked at the drawing, and these folks, I don't think have even seen it, but just before we run away, at the entranceway to whatever the name of that road is, that looked kind of big to me, but then when I saw it, that rendition of it looked pretty good to me. So just so you know, you're leaving, and we're gonna talk about this later.
I just have a question about why they're going to the planning board and not us, because I thought we did that parcel.
Well, we can get into that, but
That's a good question.
yeah, the answer is I don't know that without thinking about it a little bit.
That's going up by the school?
No,
No, let's go in front of their property.
right at the entrance to their driveway.
On their private
Which is on
road.
Rutland Heights property.
That's the school over here, that's their first building.
Correct. That's where it's going, right there.
Where the driveway is.
The main.
So I call the driveway off of Maple Ave, that's not.
The driveway into
that's a
Harmony
street off of
Place.
Maple Ave.
That's a town-owned street. What you're talking about is private. Their road going in, the town has no authority over. Okay.
And I see.
Thanks,
that
Randy.
it's situated on the property,
Make sure you tell everybody how good I've done on the well too.
on the
Well.
well.
Oh,
What did he
get the
do?
information.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, we're digressing all over the place.
Yeah, so
Sorry
let's get
about that.
back to,
So I'm just questioning if that is even planning board purview, because it's on the,
bylaw, it's a town bylaw. The HPDD doesn't have any authority, I thought, over the.
Well, I didn't mean to go off on this subject, I just wanted them to see it before we can
Let's
get to it.
let's use that for number 6 when we're down at Harmony Place reports.
Now I lost my minutes, I'm in my agenda.
So where are we? We're at the RDI, I wanted to go through the charge because the select board is making a call next Monday on the RDIC charge. They're voting on it. And I wanted to make sure we had input to them.
I think we should,
Because
I
this
think we
thing-
should post a meeting with them. I
Next
think we should
Monday.
post a meeting with their meeting so that we can talk at it. Even if we don't get a chance to talk, at least if it's posted, we could if we want to.
My personal opinion is this is a pretty dang good charge that we wrote. I don't
This-
know whether,
That was what, I printed these out to bring with me because this, 3 pages, not gonna happen. It's my opinion, I'm not telling the board how to go, but this is just,
well, no, it was taken, off the website
I
and,
get it, I do. I like that we were distinct and we had 3 attacks with these, bullet points. Michelle, do you wanna have it?
Yes, because
There's-
it was just develop and maintain the inventory.
Yes. Because I get what this, committee charge and operating framework authority and establishment. That's great, but it's just, with the committee we have, this is just too huge. We don't have a staff. and I apologize, I'm going back to the planner again, but we don't have anybody to go back to help us with anything. We're on our own. And I think this, on our own, we can handle. This, there's no way.
Well,
That's my
I think
opinion.
this to me is clear and to the point as to
Yeah.
what we should be doing, rather than vague and, you know,
Yes.
Well, I think we should post a meeting and then we can talk with them
Okay.
at that meeting if we have anything more to add. or
Let me
to
make
do.
sure before
When is that meeting?
I'm gonna look right now, cause I had Rutland up. Oh, sorry, let me go back, I gotta get back to the calendar. Well, it was supposed to be on the 16th, but I don't see any meeting for the select board on the 16th. So I guess they'll post it this Thursday? If they're gonna have a meeting on Monday? I don't know. I was
It was
told,
a Monday, right? So-
I saw an email, and I think it was from Tamika, that they were, and again, I'm not sure of this, that they were going to have a vote on the RDIC's charge on March 16th at the select board meeting, but there's nothing posted here. So I'll have to go back and look at my email, which I'll do right now, see if I can find it. But I can, their meetings are usually at 6:30. So,
6:30 or 6?
oh, you're right, without it being posted, I have to look, but and there's a report that, did we ever do an annual town report that I need to do, that I need to get to her? Well, that's great. Does anybody have a copy that I can?
I made a note of that too.
Yeah.
Talk about that tonight.
That's not on the agenda, but Tamika brought it to my attention this afternoon, and and again, I've got in trouble already once on open meeting law, but I think this is something that we have to discuss and what we're gonna do, because she needs them yesterday.
Yep.
I swore that I saw a meeting from her March 5th. No. RDIC charge, notify the RDIC, yep, here it is. I'm reaching out on behalf of the select board to notify the RDIC at the board, I'm guessing that select board plans to approve the final charge at their March 16th meeting. So any revisions will need to be received by our office no later than Wednesday, the 11th.
So what needs to be received by Wednesday the 11th?
Our charge that we're asking them
But any revisions to what?
to the charge, to this
What charge?
charge.
I
I think the revision is, I'll send them that document, and that's the RDIC charge, but I don't need a motion on this, I just want an agreement from the board.
Is there? Yeah. That's just, yeah.
Michelle, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was perfect.
Yeah, let's just say this is it, like.
Okay. Excuse me. I've got that
Should
in
we
the
take a
PDF.
vote on that? That being our charge?
I actually would like a motion.
We should, that we submit this as our
That's what I'm
response to the
looking at.
charge to the.
I've got it
yes.
as a PDF from Tamika. I can re-forward that back to her saying, please forward this to the select board. The RDIC has had a motion and approved that this is the charge they would like the select board to approve. So that's my motion. Sorry, I know I don't typically make motions, but
Yeah, I'll second it, and then they can decide if they wanna they could add or delete from it,
Well,
but that's
now
just
that I
kind
know
of
that
a
now
lot
that-
of puffery.
see, I didn't get it timed, so I'm just gonna post for the 16th. I'll ask Tamika, I'll send her an email tonight when I get home. Post a meeting for the RDIC on the 16th at 6 o'clock.
Joint, yeah.
Joint meeting.
Joint with the select board,
Got that, 6 PM.
and then make sure that we're on it.
No, I will do that tonight, and I will CC everybody on the board.
And I think you ought to ask under what criteria are we able to discuss it? I'm not being a wise guy,
Yeah.
you know.
I'll just put in there, the expectation is when it comes to the point about our charge, that we have the ability to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, it's our charge, I mean, right? I'm not being arrogant here or
No,
smart
I
aleck.
wasn't either when I said it. I just don't wanna miss the opportunity to speak in the open session, and then they discuss the charge and they vote on it.
And we get no
And we
say.
have- Right.
Okay.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to repeat of what happened the other.
Well, what I'll do is I'll ask to have us as a, item on their select board agenda. And we'll have a, dual meeting, so
Just
that,
tell Tamika what your concern is,
Yeah.
and she'll do
make it
whatever it
happen.
takes.
Got it, okay. So there's a motion and a second, any discussion? No discussion, I'll take a vote. Aye, 3-0. I will send this as part of, with the request for the 6 PM meeting on the 16th. This is our RDIC charge that we would like to approve by the select board. So that's number 3. Number 4, I had her put on here with these 2 properties. Instead of going in depth with that, I'd really like to have a full board with Dick and Randy here to talk about, so I'd like to push this to another meeting, if that's okay with the 3 people that are here.
Yeah, what's it about?
It's about those 2 properties on 68s that we've been talking about with Dick and Randy. I think it's better that we have a full board when we talk about that, because I knew Randy said he wasn't gonna be here, Dick's not gonna be on the 23rd. I still had Tamika put it on here to make it as agenda item, but
Yeah, don't
I'd like
lose
to
it.
push it. I'd like to push it to the next meeting.
So we'll, what do we call that?
Well, what?
Postpone it, we're gonna postpone
Yeah.
it to the next meeting.
Yep. I still wanna keep it on the agenda, but it'll be on the next
Well,
meeting.
just like Harmony Place,
Yeah,
leave it there
it'll
on
be-
every agenda until we do something about it.
Yep. 5, we talked about the forest management, I think we covered that pretty distinctly. Harmony Place updates, I actually, had called Mr. Quinn and asked him to send me what he had as a construction summary. So I did not, I apologize, I'll send this out tonight for information to everybody, but it was just a 1-page summary. He basically had said regarding Harmony Place, below is a summary of the construction status to date. Site development commenced in 2024 with earthwork and soil processing on site. As of November 24th, the following roads were construction and paved to binder. Fidelity Drive from Station 0+00 to 7+00 plus minus. Fidelity Drive from Station 23+50 plus or minus to Station 28+31. And then the third road that was constructed was Integrity Drive from Station 00 to Station 50. Since that time, no other road preparation has taken place. So that's it, that's all their phase 1.
Agreed.
I got 2 more bullets.
Go ahead.
Second bullet, construction on individual dwellings has been ongoing, but does not appear to be underway currently. I somewhat disagree with that, because last time I was up there, there was active guys working on houses.
I was there yesterday.
Third bullet, January 15th, town planner, this was 2025, not 2026. John Carpenter and I met with a partner in Harmony Place project to discuss grading in the area behind units 1 through 8. The area had been excavated to accommodate construction of decks not shown on plan but needs to be stabilized. I think that was covered on the ZBA, if I'm not mistaken, with those decks. That's all Kevin has to date. That to me is that's a big gap between January and now. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about this, but he said there's been nothing that's needed for him to go up there because it's all been doing with individual construction, which is the building inspector, not the engineer.
I agree with him. They're on the lots now.
Yes.
There's no site work going on.
So he said, I didn't want to waste anybody's money by going up there and doing inspections when there was no road construction
Right.
or utilities, and I'm going like, okay, understand that, so.
I have another question. Well, I have another
That's it.
question about that.
So I'll take questions after that.
Or a comment. I'm really concerned about the fact that Chris would not call a meeting. We have not met in over 2 years. I looked back. It's
Chris.
the HPDD review,
Oh, okay.
Cynical.
Senecal.
I was.
And I thought he was gonna be here, like he said he would come, but he didn't see the need to post anything, but then he didn't even come to give an update. So has anybody been watching? He was supposed to be acting as the clerk of the works or whatever, and I'm
Well-
just concerned, like, is the HPDD review board doing what it's supposed to be doing? Considering that we haven't met in over 2 years and like, we have no idea what's going on.
That was gonna be Kevin, I didn't have a long time to talk to him, I left him a message, hey, I need to get something
Yeah.
from you and what's going on. He sent me a text back, Tim, I'll get your report, and that's as far as we got. I haven't had a time to physically talk with him. Kevin, is there something I'm missing? We don't have any updates or anything other than what you sent me since that basically says January 15, 2025. But again, if there's no road going on, I guess the only thing I was looking for was any documents or as-built or any, not as-built, field updates with the ZBA stuff being red line marked up on drawings and stuff like that. Who is keeping that? Is Harmony keeping it? Is HPD? Those are my questions I wanted to talk to Kevin about.
And
'Cause
those
I don't know
yes,
that.
and Chris, because what is the review board doing?
Well, I guess I look at it a little differently. To me, let's just call them the planning board of the site. Now, if this was a subdivision, once the roads are in, and inspected by the engineer, which he says he's done, and I know he has, because I've talked to him, then the individual lots are under the control of the building inspector. So certainly I know for a fact, because I've talked to the building inspector many times, he's up there regularly doing inspections.
Multiple inspections, some cases.
So I guess I kind of hear what Chris is saying. I think what he's saying is, I don't know why we need a meeting, because you, the HPDD review board, as the planning board, approved the project in detail. And now the engineer is saying the roadways, which is what, we kind of have
Three of them,
control over. Those were installed, whatever it was, and they met his criteria. I'm not sure, I don't know what you'd discuss in a meeting. What do you think you're missing, maybe, is a better?
Well, so one of the things is I got an email from Laurel to just me asking if I thought that they put in the wrong curbing. They put in Cape Cod versus the granite. And she said, is it worth it for me to ask the review board to meet and possibly accept it, because it'll save us $1,000 from not having to dig them up or whatever.
How long ago was that?
It was a while ago, like last year, probably last fall, a year ago in fall. And I said, me personally, I remember having discussions about it, about the curbing, and we specifically wanted like straight, no slanted. I don't know what Cape Cod is, but I know that we don't want slanted.
Slanted.
Yeah, and so I said I probably would not approve of it, but I want to speak on behalf of the board. Like, I think you could certainly have a discussion with us. And then I never heard anything back.
It's what's on the
So-
drawings is what has to be followed. That's the problem that we've got into this town, is if the drawings are approved by the HPPD board and there was a certain design on it and Harmony wants to change it, I have no problem with changing it.
Right.
They just gotta come back before the board and get that approved.
And she was saying, is it worth our time to go, do you think it would pass? And I said, I don't know, but I know that we had long discussions about it, and that was the type of curbing we wanted, so I would. But nothing ever happened, and I know she contacted Chris.
Let me just say this about that. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah.
As the guy you've asked to be the
Yep,
Yeah.
RDIC point man, I got a call from their attorney way back in the fall, asking this very question. And I said, I'm gonna give you my opinion. I'm not on the HPDD review board, but I said, you've already asked for waivers on the buildings and the decks and all of that kind of stuff. Now you're gonna come in and ask for waivers on curbs because someone didn't pay attention to the plan. I said, my own opinion is, first of all, there was a lot of reasons why members of the HPDD review board were not happy with Cape Cod berm and asked for, I think it's a berm, if I remember
yeah,
right, I'm
yeah,
not
the
sure.
A-frames.
So, not only don't think you'll get it, I think it's gonna give a very bad image of what you guys are doing up there, continuing to come in and asking for waivers. So, that's why I think that went away.
Okay.
Well, I don't think there's any question, I know that's why it went away. So, I don't know what else you think about it beyond that.
I don't know, I just,
The only other issue that they've discussed with me, which was discussed when they were last here, is this sprinkler situation.
Yeah.
And since we're there, I'll just give you an update. Randy, I had, checked with Randy, he got a hold of the well guy said, yeah, it's still there. He thinks that the wiring is still in the wellhead, which means the pump is most likely still there.
Yep.
He couldn't guarantee
Yeah,
that. But he said, look, he said, when they're ready, I'll go up and show them exactly where it is. I'll help them test it. I'll do whatever I can to help them. So I passed that on to them. They came back to me and said, hey, is there any kind of a report that gives us real depth and gallonage per minute and all that? And I said, no, there isn't. So what you gotta do is hire some well guy to go up there with a generator, hook the thing up and tell you how many gallons a minute it is.
Yeah,
You know,
it's no different than what you would do with a house when you're doing it, test on the well, same thing.
Now, I raised a question with Laurel, and it's a question strictly from ignorance on my part. Where is the well physically? Is it on their property? And I don't know that. I mean, it's kind of down near, the lower portion of their property. I don't know whether it is
Side
or
of the
not.
road it's on.
Well, okay.
Would Randy know that? Well, he found it, right?
Well, he does, but
Found the
we don't know where that lot line is. Accurately, we don't know where the
Yeah.
lot line is. So maybe the well's on their property and maybe it makes enough water and it solves their problem. Maybe it's not there, but it still makes enough water and they go, okay, if we drill another one somewhere else, we can expect to get similar
Because we're in the
results.
same ballpark, yeah.
Yeah.
Or we
So-
could sell him that little piece of
There you go.
land for another couple $100,000 to help the budget.
So back to your comment about Chris, or your comment about meeting. I don't know what you would meet for, and I'm not defending Chris's decision.
No.
I don't know.
I guess the thing I was looking at, and again, it's purely from what I went through in the planning board for the last 2 years, or year and a half, is that I wanna make sure the drawings that's being worked on are redlined and up to date, with the ZBA change. If there was any other changes on locations of utilities or anything like that. Again, those are field changes. I don't have a problem with field changes. I just need them documented. And that was, honestly, that's what I was mainly looking for, Chris. Where are we at with, phase one's updates? Are we?
You gotta be a little careful here, though. I mean, are we really entitled to those? I mean, remember, this is a private project. It's not like the planning board where, it's, the town is overseeing this. I mean, they're building to their own specs really now. I'm not saying we shouldn't ask for it, but, maybe what we should be doing is ask Kevin, to ask their engineer, hey, where are we with any, specifically the decks and the back lot line? Actually, that's the only thing as of this moment, but why ask for that now? Maybe when phase one is done, it would be appropriate to say, hey, we'd like an as-built of, that section showing, exactly where we are.
And I'm fine with that, because, again, I'm not on the HPDD, but I would want from phase to phase to make sure I've got all my ducks in a row before moving on to the next one.
Right.
So I'm fine with that. It's easier, again, just being an engineer, to update as you go on than try to go back and do,
Yep.
we're talking 2 or 3 years worth of updates.
But really, the only change is that back lot.
Oh, yeah. But if they've made any movements in, where the utilities gone, where the water lines have gone, anything like that, is that documented somewhere? Because that's always a pain in the butt if somebody has to go fixing something and they go
But
digging.
who's gonna go fix it?
Well, it had to be, I'm guessing they're
It's not-
HOA people.
Yeah, that's what I mean, it's not the town, so does the town, don't get me wrong, the town should have copies of the as-bills.
Yeah, that's
but
what I was getting at, yeah.
Do they really need them? Not
Yes.
really. They do because, if a water line breaks and they can't get someone up there fast enough, the town's gonna go up and figure it out, I'm
That's the
sure.
only reason, Mike, is because what happened over across from me on Palmagussit, when they had a line break on those quote private sewer systems, the HOA didn't even, half the people over there didn't even know they were part of an HOA.
Right.
And I'm trying to think of our last DPW director, who was the town administrator, Gary. Gary actually had to go up there and bring a crew up and get that fixed and get them operational
I
again.
have no doubt, all we gotta do is ask
enough.
their engineer and they'll give us
Perfect. That's
whatever we
it.
need. They're very.
I can let Kevin do that
Is it Brigham?
communication,
Brigham?
engineering.
Yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I have no doubt they'll
I can talk with
give
Kevin.
it to us in a
All
second.
right, good enough. I just, again, I just wanted to make sure that, yeah. And now to get to the point of the sign, I am not sure how that works out, because that sign bylaw is under town.
But don't you issue permits for signs?
The planning board does, yeah.
Well,
Well,
that's
no, we
why-
issue a letter to the, building inspector that issues the permit.
But you have a public hearing.
Yeah, we have to, yeah.
So that's why it's going to the planning board, because,
It by bylaw, it has to have a public hearing and comments.
right,
And
and
we
that's
have to check
that's
the
what this
design,
is.
and that design has to follow the bylaw. And if it doesn't, we basically say go back to the drawing board and fix it till it's correct.
Or you can waive,
Well, you're right. If the,
because you must be able to, because you put backlit signs in, so.
correct,
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
that's fine.
So that's what this is, an actual application to the planning
Correct.
board.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
So
when is that so should we go attend that meeting?
I would make an effort to be at this meeting.
And do we
I
know
don't
when
think
it
we
is
all
gonna
have to
be?
go, but more than welcome to.
I would definitely want to
Well,
be there.
It's March
2/3
24th, Tuesday, March 24th.
At the planning board?
40% of the RDIC will be there. Because take higher members.
Do we want,
So we should-
Harmony at planning board, I've already got it on my calendar. Do we want to schedule a meeting for us at the same time in
Yeah.
case we want to
We'd
discuss
have to
anything?
post that.
Yeah, you have to post that. I'd have to, let me look and see what, hold on a quick second.
But I actually think that it's a pretty nice looking
It
sign.
is, yeah.
If you look at, flip the page, if you look at just that,
Yes, it
It's
makes it
like,
look.
no, holy
Yeah,
mackerel.
because it's,
but then when you see it in, I'm guessing the sign itself is probably 6 feet maybe
5 feet tall.
tall, but I mean, this dimension, they don't give you that dimension.
Oh, I see.
I'm guessing those look like they might be 1.5 feet, 2 feet, so,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
I
you,
think
if you
it's gonna
look
be
at, for
fine.
instance, what's across the street, is it Rolling Ridge?
Yeah,
That sign is not quite that big, but you don't really notice it.
right. And it's coming up that way, like it's,
Yeah, it's perfect way you're gonna be turning in,
Right,
looking,
right,
and
right.
it's their property, so.
yeah. I'm just surprised they're doing it only from this direction and not having it straight on.
I think the expectation is, and the hope is, that the school access doesn't get used all that often. I think most people.
Yes, are
Most
gonna
people
come
that
in
come
this
down
way, yeah.
Maple
Oh,
Ave.
yeah, that's right, you can't go in that way anyway,
Right.
because it's one way, got it. Yeah, that makes sense now.
Even though I was driving out the other day and I wasn't really paying attention, I came around the corner by
Oops.
a guy coming down the other way. Yeah.
So, March 24th.
Yeah, I forgot about it being one way, yeah.
I can post it, we start at
But you can
6:30.
drive that way, but you can't come back up.
Right. And again, I think most people, when they exit, are gonna go to the right. It's shorter,
Yeah.
right now it's a better road.
So
We're
I'll
not
have
dealing with-
Tamika put together
And there's
two
kind of a light in the center of town to get out.
Yeah,
two meetings, March 16th with the select board at 6 PM, and then March 24th at 6:30 PM for the RDIC for dual meetings with the
Yes.
planning board.
yes, please, and thank you.
I'll get that to Tamika tonight. And, cause I see the planning board already has the, date pulled for the 24th. And it's been put in, we've done a public hearing notice in the Worcester Telegram for the, sign. Cause by the general
Oh.
bylaw, Article 7, we have to post a public hearing.
Is it posted on the town website?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's under the planning board. Well, it's not posted, it's posted on the planning board, March 20 as a meeting, and then within that, it's got the agenda for that meeting.
You know the thing that is it the town administrator sends out like a weekly or a monthly thingy?
Oh, you
newsletter.
mean, yeah, the newsletter, yes.
I think it should probably go in the newsletter
I don't
or in the
know.
Rutland Free Press.
Let me back up and see in,
Just to be like, get it
I don't know
out
if they
there.
do that, let me look at.
What?
that there's gonna be a thing about the sign.
Oh,
Um,
but again, they're only obligated to notify abutters, and we, the town, are abutters. And in fact, I'll bet we're the only abutter. Yeah, there's no doubt we're the only abutter.
school would be the only other person that would be notified.
Well, that's
That's us.
town property,
town
so.
property.
Yeah,
There might
okay.
be some over on, Forest Hill, maybe,
But they don't abut, cause they don't own that side of the road, they only own this side of the road.
but it's within 500 feet of their.
Ozios might be the only other place that might,
Maybe.
if it's close, cause his property goes
Well,
back
so
some.
the people in that neighborhood in the back will be closer.
Yeah. I just don't see anything on the town. You know, where they've got all this stuff that they talk about, I don't see anything. Calendar doesn't.
All right, do we have anything else to discuss?
No, that was the last thing I would bring up in Harmony.
No, you did, the, annual report.
Yes,
Yeah, you basically just gotta kinda give a little history of what happened in the last year. So if you take a look at the last year's,
does Tamika have that in a,
it's in the town.
yeah, I just need a document to,
She has to have it, cause I would've emailed, I may even have it, but
okay, I'll ask her.
if she doesn't have it, let me know, I'll go
Let
on.
me write that down.
Now you talking about last year's write-up?
Yeah. Did you do it? No, you did a couple of years ago.
I did a
think.
couple of years, but I think you did last year's.
Yeah, I've gotta ask, tomorrow I gotta ask Norm, so who's doing it for the planning board? Cause typically our planner would do it, we don't have one, so I don't know who's doing it. I'm not letting that one go, Mike, sorry.
Okay.
I got $68,000 sitting in a bucket that, need a planner to be useful for the rest of this year.
We're not talking about that here, though.
No, so last year's report,
People didn't refer to them with derogatory words, we'd be able to keep one.
I don't think that would have mattered actually, but.
We're not
that's
gonna
off
talk
subject.
about that here.
Yep, last year's report, Tamika, okay, so I got three things to send her for emails.
Oh, so, we got so sidetracked on Harmony Hill. So I spoke today with Ron, the clerk of the works up there, about some water.
Yeah.
That I was just a little concerned about. He was taking care of that. They have, whatever I'm gonna tell you is gonna be wrong because I was driving when he was talking to me, but I think they have 12 units occupied.
Oh, excellent, up from.
10 or 12, I'm not sure. They have closings for 8 more by mid-May.
Excellent.
12, that's 20. For some reason, 22 rings a bell. But anyway, they're
Yeah.
making some good hay. The
Do they have any?
community center is up,
Okay,
built. You know, they're now putting the roof line on, but I mean, it's there. You can drive it and see
framed
it.
up and saying,
Oh, it's sided, you know, not sided, but sheathed and.
yep, okay,
And the problem building is gonna be demolished and rebuilt. And yesterday were digging another foundation hole right next to that one.
did he say it with, outside of the 12 that are closed, 8 that's coming, do they have any more that's on, what's the word I'm looking for? Retainer or?
What he said to me was, Mike, he says, my push is to get this community center up, get these last 2 buildings up, grade them, seed them, so that when people
looks
drive in
nice
here,
and
they
neat.
see green grass and not
Dirt.
muddy dirt and
Okay.
muddy water.
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, I do too, I told him.
Excellent, well, still 20, that's half of phase 1.
Yeah, so they're
That's
making,
44.
they're making some pretty good progress.
Okay, good,
I totally agree with that.
all right.
And you know, based on, I have no idea about their quality versus anybody else, but, my wife and I have been just dabbling every once in a while, looking at condos. These condos are like $525,000. You can't buy a condo anywhere for under
700?
650, 700, 800. So I would, and forget the building itself, the location, I mean, the fact that it's out and up and, to me, makes it even more sellable. So I'm hoping that once they kind of get the place looking like, we're done. So I've got nothing else.
All right, we did the same thing. We just sold a house in Holden, and people that bought it were looking east over by Acton, that area over there, Shirley. And she goes, "Do you know that this house, if it was over there, it wouldn't be $499, it would be $899,
Yeah.
just 25 miles away."
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Second. I got a motion and a second. Anything else? No discussion. Vote.
Aye.
Adjourned. All right, you can cut it. Thank you.